Following the terror attack in Paris, there's been a lot of talk about Syrian refugees and whether or not we should accept them in the U.S. President Obama wants to move forward with the program and bring 10,000 here over the next year. He's facing opposition at almost every level of government, mostly from Republicans pushing isolationist ideologies. But the reality of refugees is it's better to welcome them in than shut them out. More than half the country's state governors oppose relocating refugees to their states because of public safety concerns.
So my heart says that we should let them in, but my head says that I have to protect the people of the state of Alabama and keep them secure.
Some Republican presidential candidates suggest it'd be better to keep the refugees in the Middle East.
We should be compassionate toward the Syrian refugees and should use our resources and our talents to try to help them get settled over there. I do not believe that we should be bringing them here.
Syrian Muslim refugees should be resettled in the Middle East, in majority Muslim countries.
And House Speaker Paul Ryan says it's too easy for terrorists to sneak through with the refugees.
Our nation has always been welcoming, but we cannot let terrorists take advantage of our compassion. This is a moment where it's better to be safe than to be sorry.
They're all wrong. Research shows refugees aren't a public safety concern. Keeping them in the Middle East won't make us safer, and terrorists don't come to the U.S. through refugee programs. First off, there's no evidence that bringing Syrian refugees to the U.S. is dangerous. Since the September 11th terror attacks, the U.S. has brought 1.5 million refugees from the Middle East into the country, and not a single one has committed a terrorist act. There are also numerous studies that have shown immigrants both to the U.S. and around the world are less likely to commit serious crimes than the general population. And Germany, which has been one of the most welcoming to the refugees, commissioned a study of Syrian refugees that found they don't commit crimes any more often than German citizens. The study also says that 2/3 of the crimes committed by refugees were nonviolent crimes of desperation, like theft, robbery, and fraud. Next, getting refugees out of the Middle East is as important for us as it is for them. ISIS doesn't like refugees. It sees them as traitors to their caliphate cause. So the best thing for the refugees is to get them as far away from ISIS as possible. But that's also the best thing for us. Refugee camps are breeding grounds for the feelings of hopelessness and alienation that terrorism thrives on. And ISIS uses those feelings to radicalize and recruit new members. So if we want to stop ISIS from expanding its numbers, we need to get the refugees to more stable situations as far away from ISIS as possible. Finally, there are many easier and faster ways for terrorists to get to the U.S. than trying to sneak through as a refugee. Refugees have to go through a 13-step verification process that includes checks by the State Department, law enforcement and intelligence agencies, the Department of Homeland Security, and Customs and Border Protection. The whole process typically takes at least a year to 18 months, and circumstances can delay it much more than that. There's also an important distinction between refugee programs in Europe and the U.S. European countries are overwhelmed by the refugee migration and can't perform the same checks as the U.S. before letting refugees into the country. All of this was true before the Paris attack, and it's still true today. In the wake of terror like this, it's pretty common for our emotions to take control and fear to drive our thought process. But policy decisions made out of fear are almost never the right move. So it's time that we accept the reality and help ourselves by helping the Syrian refugees.